evening and welcome to news. I'm Salmata JALLOW. Coming up in tonight's edition of news, President Anis Barkoma returns home after a 3-day high-level visit to Rabat, Kingdom of Morocco. Mayor of FREETOWN breaks silence to the recent unfit to eat chicken saga in the capital. Environment Protection Agency provides waste bins to ministries, departments and agencies. And KRIO community in Sierra Leone elect acting Deputy Director General of the SLBC as President. All those stories and more lined up in this edition of news. Welcome to news. For our first story tonight, President Anis Barkoma this evening returned home after a 3-day high-level visit to Rabat, Kingdom of Morocco. On arrival at the FREETOWN International Airport, Lungi, President Nkrumah was received by the Vice President Victor Bokarifo, First Lady Sianya Makrama, government ministers, permanent chiefs and government functionaries. The mayor of FREETOWN, FRANKLYN GIBSON, has stated that the recent saga surrounding the disposal of the 40-feet container of contaminated chickens was lack of proper coordination among key players. He said that the council was not informed about the decision to dump the rotten chickens. The mayor made the statement at a press conference held today at the council's head office on Wallace Johnson Street. Our colleague Mama Dengekan was among journalists, and she now reports. This 40-feet container of contaminated chicken, which was disposed at the dump site at Kisiferi Junction, saw hundreds of people scrambling and carted away with cartons of chicken. According to the Minister of Health and Sanitation, the chickens contained Salmonella bacteria, which caused diarrhea and cholera. The issue has brought international disgrace to the country, depicting hunger, poverty and hardship. Many people are now concerned about the health of those who have eaten this rotten chicken. However, the FREETOWN City Council has dissociated itself from the disposal of the contaminated chickens at Bomedom site.
As a responsible council, straight away I issued a statement. I said this council know nothing but all that. But we will investigate and we'll get back to the public. So over the weekend, we investigate. Somebody be even ask me just now up here now if I don't go look whose side they been dispose of the chicken. I not agree for answer, but I did that. Wait to make a doer. I want to see the area where they go dispose of them kind here, where people they steal the falla them for Google what's the things them. I don't want for condemn people them with the work for the states, but in this particular instance, you go find for make our attribute blame to whose I blamed you. As still they say that activity they not a daylight activity. If nothing we been get for do with burning when you light fire, I can understand. But this is not a light fire. You they go dig during the day, nobody know which you want for do. You abandon the hole. Now next midnight, 12 o'clock, people they don't sleep. Go bed which you want for bed and get on chemical.
According to the mayor of FREETOWN, FRANKLYN GIBSON, the council was not informed about the disposal of the contaminated chicken. The mayor said photos of the scene at Bome was posted to him through social media by his environmental manager, Suleiman Parker, which urged him to send council personnel to be arresting people caught selling the chicken.
Get investigators then will move from market to market for identify people them way they sell them chicken and day. I tell you say we don't get information this morning. Say them people already done a culverts that na the back of that dump site in a Grande Brook. They will not begin dry the chicken and the smoke up. You understand? I don't get that information. I even don't dispatch people there for go there. For go look. If we see person the dry chicken, you not get license for sell smoked chicken because we know how they sell smoked chicken not so. We know how they prepare smoked chicken. We go arrest you. And we will try for prosecute you.
Also, the mayor informed journalists that his council clinched the 8th position in the Cock-Pulse review and that they won the 2nd position in the devolution processes of local councils in Sierra Leone. The Cock-Pulse is a system which is used to evaluate activities of different councils. The mayor spoke of the challenges in the collection of taxes in Freetown.
Cleared all of it on photographs. They were on a picture posted. Somebody
That was the mayor of the Freetown City Council, FRANKLYN BODE GIBSON, reacting to the recent saga surrounding the dumping of unfit to eat chickens at the BODE site. Well, following the dumping of these unfit to eat chickens at the BODE site, the chairman of the African Union Livestock Policy Hub for Sierra Leone, Pakai Kamara, has advised Sierra Leoneans to be mindful of imported chickens. He was speaking to Sheku Somaila.
The African Union setting up a livestock policy hub in Sierra Leone, of which I am the chairman. What I saw and heard over the media since yesterday is really heartrending. It is sad seeing our fellow Sierra Leoneans scrambling for expired chicken. That is totally unacceptable. I mean, these are one of the reasons why the African Union thought it fit to establish all these livestock policy hubs in Africa, of which I'm a chairman for the one in Sierra Leone.
So what advice do you have for those who are importing chicken from abroad and those who are also buying or who are consuming these chickens from abroad?
Honestly, there are policies. They should make sure they go through, and do the right thing. Not in a situation where they take advantage of a situation wherein people who are less privileged will be struggling to have expired food. If you're an importer, you should be able to know that this is what it takes for you to import certain commodities, bringing them in countries. These are how the measures should be taken care of, instead of using their own method of like what we saw on social media, on televisions and newspapers.
And so now, these chickens that have been brought to this nation and to this country, to some other vulnerable African countries, especially the man of Virginia. As somebody who has vast knowledge in poultry, how are they processed abroad before they are imported into these countries?
We do have videos of dead chicken that, for example, in Brazil and other parts of the country, of the world, wherein they do process volumes in terms of the quantity they are processing. These are dead chicken. And because they know they have people that can buy this chicken after processing them, they don't even know or find out the reason why this chicken were dead. So basically, majority of the imported chicken coming into this country and that of other parts of Africa, they are dead chicken. We have videos to show. That is what has been happening over the years.
And so now, what is your advice to government? Because over relevant authorities, because we have the Ministry of Trade, under which we have the Standards Bureau, we have the Quarantine Department at Otaki, and some other entry points. What's your advice to these relevant authorities?
Before I go to the advice to the authorities, I want to let Sierra Leoneans know that this is the reason why Sierra Leone Food Processing Company, we are here. I saw this coming long years ago. I know it might not happen the way it is now, but I know exactly that if we don't have this kind of infrastructure of which Sierra Leone Food Processing have now, a lot of these issues will be still coming up. We have a processing plant that can process complete broilers, 1,000 broilers chicken per hour, and that of cattle and small 50 cattle per day. So the mindset of Sierra Leoneans should be able to be more or less change and understand that it's better for us to go in for homegrown processed, be it poultry meat or be it cattle meat. Because at the end of the day, what we saw happening a few days ago, it is just an example of what have been happening over the years, but nobody was there to take the bold step in terms of improving that sector. Don't forget, these importers are business people. They saw an opportunity of wherein they can make money. Yes, they go for it. So we as Sierra Leone, on behalf of the company, I want to use this opportunity to let Sierra Leoneans know we are here and we are producing homegrown chicken and processed under hygienic condition, which they can use and make sure they have the option to buy whether imported or local.
He is the chairman, African Union Livestock Policy Hub for Sierra Leone, Pakai Kamara, advising Sierra Leoneans to be mindful of imported chickens in that interview with Sheku Sumaile. The reappearance of seaweed at the LUMLEY Aberdeen is not new to Sierra Leoneans, as it has been over 3 years since it was first spotted at the beach. The offensive smell of the seaweed and the filth it brings is a concern to many. This seaweed also affects fishermen along the beach. Our own Francis Bernard takes a look at the story.
Seaweed has appeared again at the LUMLEY beach, and it is seriously overtaking the beach with its offensive odor. This is not the first time Sierra Leone has been disturbed by the smelly seaweed. For the past 3 to 4 years, the start of the rainy season has seen an influx of this unwanted material. Speaking to some youth along the LUMLEY beach, they said they have been voluntarily cleaning the beach, but more seaweed is coming, and that makes the job difficult for them. The stench is keeping tourists away and the deposits affecting the fishing industry. The hardest hit by the deposits are said to be fishermen. We cannot even cast our net as all we fish out are seaweeds with tormenting smells, a fisherman Abubakar told the SLBC. Salmata, a fishmonger at the LUMLEY beach, spoke about the drop in sales due to the arrival of the seaweed.
When the seaweed don't come so right now, you know they make the fisherman and the fishing, you know they get fish. And the fish they can right now in there. And this seaweed they are where they come on the middle of the sea, so they fish and they lay egg. And when see it begin cancel, fish and they get chance for lay egg. So the ones when they fish itself, they want to do watching now, they fisherman when they do watching now, then they get chance of the watching because they poorly net. You understand? So right now they really strain.
Whilst majority of citizens are worried about what will become of the beautiful beaches if the issue of seaweed is not addressed, Abdullahi Mansare and others are making money out of what many consider as unpleasant wastes.
This fish, I believe, say now this seaweed and any cow there. At time what do you attack where they rock, where they cow the seaweed, they get all eggs the cow there. We bought some of man rock pick up this morning. He just no more now it's up.
DARLINDA WESTSTRATE is not only concerned about the current site of the beach, but also how it affects tourism.
Yeah, I'm very much concerned because I think it's not helping our tourism. And I think the government must try to put an end to this because every year, I guess, we're having this seaweed from here up to Godrich. So I think we must try to fight it out if we need tourist attraction in this country.
Efforts to talk to authorities of the National Tourist Board proved futile. Meanwhile, workers of the National Tourist Board were found cleaning the seaweed on the beach. According to reports, Sierra Leone is not the only country that have experienced large volumes of seaweed, but many beaches in Mexico, the Caribbean, and along the south coast of West Africa have been affected by it. For SLBC News, Francis Bernard in Freetown.
Many thanks to colleague Francis Bernard for compiling that report on the reappearance of seaweed at LUMLEY and Aberdeen Beach. A memorandum of understanding for the construction of a child learning center has been signed between Plan International Sierra Leone and the Ministry of Social Welfare, Gender and Children's Affairs. The signing ceremony, which took place at the Kolosoko Village, Makarigbanti Chiefdom Bombali District, targeted parents, government functionaries, and children. The Assistant Director North, Ministry of Social Welfare, Gender and Children's Affairs, Posse Sako, signed on behalf of the ministry. She commended Plan International Sierra Leone for their great contributions towards the lives of children across the country. The country director of Plan International Sierra Leone, Kersley Art Coleman, said that his organization has been working in Sierra Leone for the past 40 years now, and their main priority is to protect children by providing conducive learning environment for them. This, Mr. Coleman noted that the Child Learning Center, when completed in Kolosoko Village, will be one of the best in the country that will cater for the children. Posisako appealed to parents to send their children to school and stop them from early marriage, which is not good for their well-being. The Board of Trustees, Management and Staff of the SLBC is mourning the death of the Deputy Station Manager in Bo, Manja Parkinson. She died yesterday after protracted illness, which took place at the Connaught Hospital in Freetown. Manja Parkinson, fondly known as Christiana Amampo, as she's fondly called, joined the SLBS in 1999 as a camera operator, and she rose through the ranks of reporter, producer, and deputy station manager SLBC Bo. She later joined United Nations Radio in 2004 and became part of the SLBC when both institutions merged. Manja was one of the well-known reporters in the regions and filing human interest stories for the news bulletin, programs on both radio and television, as well as we use. Well, we now continue with more stories. The Language Studies Department of Frabe College, University of Sierra Leone, has started its second annual Language Studies Week on the theme, Language the Key to Surmounting Barriers. The ceremony, which took place at the Mary Kingsley Auditorium on Frabe College, was to showcase what they have been doing as a department within the University of Sierra Leone. Omubaka was there.
English by students on campus has been a serious concern. Some university students find it difficult to express themselves in English. It is against this background that the English Studies Department for Abbey College decided to observe the week. Head of Department, Language Studies Department, Prince Kenny, said the week is very important as many students cannot express themselves in English. Mr. Kenny stated that the way people write and speak English has a lot to do with their professional life. David Bremer from the Registry Department of Wabe College called on students to take their studies seriously and be a good example. Mr. Bremer said education is the gateway from mystery to hope. Delivering the keynote address, Deputy Registrar, University of Sierra Leone, Bremer Ba, said that people cannot do without the use of English, as it has the power to create. Mr. Ba said the theme is timely, as language is one of the tools used to surmount barriers.
Board and management of the SLBC have jointly made an on-the-spot visit to properties of the corporation in the Western area. The team, which was led by its chairman, Festus Mina, inspected the facilities at Godrich, the substation in KRIO Water, and the Leicester Peak transmission site. Ibrahim Sumra went along. We apologize for that issue. We cannot continue to bring in that story. The Environmental Protection Agency has provided waste bins to 8 ministries, departments, and agencies. The bins, according to EPA, are for MDA'S to properly manage their waste by separating them. 3 of the 300-litre bins were presented to each MDA. Sheikh Usumana witnessed the presentation.
It's one aspect of environmental management that remains a challenge to this nation, as improper disposal of both solid and liquid waste continues to pose serious threats to the health of Sierra Leoneans. Life is also threatened because depositing waste in drainages can lead to flooding, which may cause death in communities. EPA, which has the mandate according to its Act of 2008 as amended in 2010, believes that separation of waste is one way the environment will be properly managed. The provision of these waste bins to MDA'S, including the Ministries of Finance and Works, the Sierra Leone Police, House of Parliament, National Revenue Authority, and the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation, is to encourage institutions to inculcate the practice of proper management of waste. EPA wants collaboration with MDA'S for proper management of the environment. Director of EPA, Mamadou Ba, said bins should be used for the intended purpose, as from time to time, EPA will be visiting MDA'S on waste management issues. The executive chairperson of EPA, JATU JALLOW, said EPA will be providing training for MDA'S on environmental issues, especially on waste management. She emphasized the need for separation of waste.
The whole purpose of handing over these dustbins to you is so that you all can be part of waste management. It's so important that you take issues of waste management and waste separation very seriously, because it's not just an environmental issue, it's also a health issue. So we do hope that they're not going to be white elephants in your various institutions, that you will find time to educate your staff about the need for separation of waste. In turn, we are going to encourage companies that produce some of the plastics and cans to regularly collect them for recycling.
She commended MDA'S that have been collaborating with EPA on environmental issues. She praised the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation for its support to EPA, especially in providing coverages on serious environmental challenges. Each MDA received 3 of 300-liter bins. Reporting for SLBC News, I'm Sheku Smaila.
The KRIO community in Sierra Leone has elected the acting director general of the SLBC, Samuel Valcastle, as president. The election was held at the St. Anthony's Parish Hall, Sykes Street, during the annual general meeting on the theme Kapusen Slick KRIO Team Up for Tomorrow. Mahawali reports.
Chief Executive, the position of President of the KRIO community, limited by guarantee, for the company year 2016-2017, around the year and newly elected Mr. Samuel Valcastle.
This was the first annual general meeting organized by the KRIO community after several years. According to members of the KRIO community, the meeting was important and timely in the lives of the association, noting that they are proud members of the KRIO community. Minister of Political and Public Affairs Nanette Thomas, a strong member of the KRIO community, expressed happiness over the commitment of the community. She refers to the community as a constituency of its own and therefore urged members to be active in the politics of the country.
I mean, as the first woman, whether we Minister of Political and Public Affairs, so we all have the opportunity to send private tax to you, which they get for you, which they don't get for you. What do you send private tax to you? For promote the constituency and say, I want to estimate that so constituency. Now, 2 parties are Sallow, SLPP and APC, that belong to one. When you belong to one, the people are going to
The newly elected president of the KRIO community, acting deputy director general of the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation, Samuel Valcastle, thanked the membership for the trust reposed in him to lead the community. Valcastle called on the KRIO community to be committed and work in unity in the interest of the community. He said, as president-elect, he will do all he can in ensuring that there is a level playing field for all members. He called on the community to embrace each other irrespective of political affiliations.
Convince them to affiliate. Tell them that they should support you. You're just another immigrant. They who shall come and they look up to you. Here. FREETOWN is my calling. FREETOWN is where I belong. No political group here. No intimidation. Are we united? Yes. KRIO people. for intermarriages.
As a way of manifesting unity among its members, all other positions contested in setting up the executive went unopposed.
How it all ended at the St. Anthony's Parish with the annual general meeting of the KRIO community, which saw the elections of a new executive headed by the acting deputy director general of the SLB, Samuel Valcastle. The Ministry of Sports and the National Olympic Committee have held a joint press briefing where the Sierra Leone delegation for the 2016 Olympic Games in Rio in Brazil was presented. The briefing, which took place at the conference room of the Ministry of Sports, also was an opportunity to admonish the athletes of their roles in the games. David Patrick Emma reports.
Ishmael Al-Sanko Conte said this is an opportunity for the athletes to show the world that Sierra Leone has talent in sports. He congratulated the athletes on qualifying and wished them the best of luck in the venture. Giving a rundown of members of the delegation, President of the National Olympic Committee, Dr. Patrick Coker, said the number of athletes as per officials has always raised eyebrows, but said it is important to note that there are officials that are bound to attend the games even if the country is not taking part. One of such is the President of NOC and his Secretary General. 4 athletes, 2 each from swimming and athletics, including Hafsatu Kamara, who will join the team from the United States of America, will represent Sierra Leone.
Yes, and we have 2 swimmers who are both Sierra Leone based. We have a male swimmer and a female swimmer, and they are both participating in really 2 different types of swimming events, and they also have their individual coaches. For the athletics, track and field, we only have 1 athletic coach. As part of the delegation, we also have a chaperone. That is also something that a lot of people don't seem to know the necessity for. This is an IOC mandated decision that any team that is going with female athletes should always have a chaperone. In fact, some teams have more than 3 or 4 chaperones depending on their team size.
Minister of Sport Ahmed Kanu congratulated the athletes and coaches on their efforts to qualify under difficult circumstances and admonished them to work hard and fly high the green, white and blue. Ahmed Kanu said this is a test of human resilience and a test of teamwork. He said this government is determined to promote the young people, in which a good percentage of them are in sport, which is why the government has taken full responsibility of the delegation.
I want to congratulate the leadership of the National Olympic Committee for the efforts, time, patience in understanding the change and the direction the ministry is moving towards. We will continue in this direction, but with one goal, and the goal of representing Sierra Leone, without any personal gains, because that has characterized our thinking in the past in the sports sector. That has got to change.
One of the 2 swimmers in the delegation, Bintu Rabe JALLOW, on behalf of colleague athletes, thanked the Ministry of Sports and the NOC for trusting and investing in them. She said they are determined to make Sierra Leone proud, which is why they have named themselves as Achievement Squad. The Olympic Games in Rio de Janeiro has faced a couple of challenges. Key among them is the Zika virus, which has made some senior athletes, mostly golfers, to pull out of the competition. But a thorough sensitization on the dangers and preventive measures of the virus was made known to the team in a meeting with medical experts, the minister added. David Patrick Kamara, SLBC.
Journalist Sablai has been released and handed over to the SLAJ president, KRIO Lewis, and his legal team. According to reports, the journalist was detained on the orders of the Deputy Minister of Internal Affairs, Major Sengo Kuruma, for information he posted on social media. But how was he released? Public Relations Officer of SLAJ, Princess GIBSON, spoke to Kojo Kwafo.
The issue here is journalist Samlahai has been released. It's the intervention of SLAJ, but we are concerned. And our position by SLAJ is that even though he has been released, we are concerned that since Friday, he was detained on the instructions of the Deputy Internal Affairs Minister, Sengo Kuruma, even when there was somebody in the person of the President of SLAJ to enter into recognizance for his bail, but he was refused. And this is a bailable offense. He was brought by somebody that can provide details for him that will produce him if even he is required by law. He was not given bail on the instructions of the deputy minister. So we consider this as unacceptable. We also look forward to the police to open up for offenses or matters which are bailable offenses, particularly in such case.
Does this mean that the charges have been dropped, or will it be appearing in court at the time soon?
No, the charges still stands, but just that he has been released on bail, 20 million euros bail, handed over to the president of SLAJ, whilst investigation still continues.
Are there any other actions that SLAJ will take?
Well, we don't intend taking any other actions, but just that we want to register our concern that the manner in which our colleague was treated by the deputy minister is unacceptable, because if somebody is there to provide recognizance for him, he should have been released. But the police bend down on honoring the instructions of the deputy minister of internal affairs, and for us it is systemic and it has become a governance issue. That is the more reason why we are advocating for the repeal of certain sections of the criminal libel law.
We would like to know about the present condition of Mr. Lahai at the moment.
Well, by the face value, because I am not a medical practitioner, he's fine, he's okay, he has been released.
That was the Public Relations Officer of the Styling Association of Journalists, Princess GIBSON. We are going back to the story wherein the board and management of the SLBC jointly made an on-the-spot visit to properties of the corporation in the Western area. Ibrahim Sumra reports.
The substation in
We apologize, we cannot bring you that story. And now to end the news, the main points again. President Kuruma has returned home after a 3-day high-level visit to Rabat, Kingdom of Morocco. The mayor of Freetown has raised concern over the recent unfit-to-eat chicken saga in the capital. The Environment Protection Agency has provided waste bins to ministries, departments and agencies. And KRIO Committee in Sierra Leone has elected acting Deputy Director General of the SLBC as president. That's all in the news tonight. In the absence of business and sports, that's our wrap things up. Thanks for watching. Good night. Up next is Issues in the News with Asmiuba.
Hello and welcome to Issues in the News from the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation with me, Asimuba. The Board of Trustees, Management and Staff of the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation is mourning the death of the Deputy Station Manager of SLBC, Manja Parkinson. She died after a protracted illness on Sunday 24th of July 2016 at the Connaught Hospital in Freetown. Manja Parkinson joined the SLBC in 1999 as a camera operator, later joined the United Nations in 2004 and rose through the ranks from reporter, producer and deputy station manager at SLBC. Madam Parkinson was one of the well-known reporters in the regions and filing human interest stories and current affairs programs on both radio and television. She was one of the African journalists who covered the 2012 presidential elections in the United States of America. But how did the management receive the news? I have with me in the studio the Director General of SLBC, Dr. Elvis Banahum Harrow. Welcome to the program, Dr. Harrow.
Thank you for having me.
As the DG of SLBC, how did you receive the news yesterday?
I was on a trip to the provinces in Yochifu, also attending the 40th day ceremony of a dear aunt of mine. And I had been discussing with the older brother of Manja, Dan Parkinson, who works at the Ministry of Information. And he had told me how serious the illness had become a day or two before she died. And but you know, for people who have a stardom in their lives, you don't even believe that they're going to die so young. So when the information came to my phone, I was as shocked as I never knew she was expected to die. So I joined the management in mourning a very dear personality, a very enthusiastic journalist, and a very determined individual. And it is a sad, sad event for the SLBC and for the country that we can so lose such a young person who still had vivacious energy in her body.
How did you come to know Manja Parkinson?
When I came to the SLBC in 2010, Manja Parkinson was one of the people who greeted me enthusiastically. And by then she was shuttling between the provincial offices and Freetown. But there were certain events that had to keep her here for longer than a week. And it was during those times that I had the opportunity of engaging her. And I saw determinism in an individual such as Manja. I realized that she loved the profession and wanted to be on top of it. You know, so because of this, we had occasional, discussion. And one of the things about Manja that would always draw you closer to her, I suspected when I first came, was, as you mentioned in your introduction, her interest is the people's interest. She wanted to cover human interest stories. She wanted to talk about things that couldn't find their way into the major news item at that time. So because of that, she made a name for herself. And I found her to be warm to those things, but also warm to the people for whom that she reports. You know, she could go to a length, not just reporting about them, but even following after those stories. So this is how I remember her, as somebody who was not just a journalist, but also was passionate to look at the story behind the news.
Okay, I mean, what kind of name did she make in a profession that many deem is a male-dominated one?
I think Manja was, operating from a purely gender perspective. She could be a woman, if you will, but she also performed professionally, to a point that it did not matter to Manja whether she was a woman performing in a field dominated by women, by men. I think what happened was that Manja could hold a voice and could sustain it. I mean, I listened to, I watched an interview that she did with the president at his backroom. You would see that she came in large in interviewing the president. And so when, after the Ebola crisis came, it was Manja who first broke the important story and went to the most sacred of places that you couldn't go at that time. You know, that mandated us to give her an award because we felt that she had broken the egg and had made the story to be one other journalists could force themselves into. So if you ask me, I think that she did not practice as a woman or a man. She practiced as a neutral, gendered journalist who held her head high in the profession and made the name that she wanted to make at such a small short scale.
Many people I have spoken to said you cannot take away her sense of humor. Is that something you also recognize from her?
You will find that even when, and I got interviewed by Manja quite a lot of times, not just in Freetown, when I went to BODE or when I went to Kenema, you know, and she would prefer to interview me in KRIO because she was fluent in it. She was, you know, she gave in to those kind of interviews. I found that to be very humorous because she wanted to water down the interview to make it look as if it is the people that I'm giving information. It is the people that I am entertaining. She collaborated so much with others, and she used to come out very humorous, and she wanted you also to be humorous. I was surprised that when I went to Kenema or BODE 2 or 3 times that Manja interviewed me, I felt by the time I left the interview room, people were calling me. Oh, I like the jokes that you cracked there, but it was her who did all the joking and who sort of prompted you to do that. She practiced journalism not with the kind of seriousness that people who have not come to practice journalism do practice. She makes you feel this is an everyday life, and journalism is an everyday life. It's just the business of passing on information from yourself to another person.
Manja wore many hats. She was a reporter, she was a station manager. Now let's look at her role as a deputy station manager in BODE, for instance, the position she died in.
Well, with SLBC, I think one can go into the singular nomenclature of being a journalist, and then once you're a journalist, you then find yourself having to do many other things. But BODE was not the first place that Manja was as a deputy station manager. She was also the deputy station manager of Kenema for a long time, and you had Dr. Ivan Ajibola saying when he sent her to Kenema. Now when I came, I met her in Kenema. I think that she learned very quickly to be an administrator. Because even in journalism, even in leading people to the camera or leading them to radio, you need to manage them. And I think that's where Manja excelled, managing the people that she wants to interview, managing the people that she wants to talk to. Because you need to know the skills to be able to get them to laugh, to be able to laugh over their problems. So when she came to Kenema and to BODE, I think she was very helpful in projecting the image of the SLBC. And one of the things that she could do is that even though she was large on the screen, but she loved the SLBC. And she preferred for the SLBC as an institution to carry the name that she should have carried. So she was not the kind of selfish journalist. She held back so that the institution goes forward. And this is what a lot of her colleagues have remembered her for, listening to them talk on the radio.
I mean, she worked in the South and the East, but yet still she was able to accommodate all political views, because I have listened to so many people, and most of them say Manja was indeed a journalist. She gave opportunity to all political parties, all shades of opinion.
I'll let you into a secret. I was talking to the Director of Administration, and I said to the Director of Administration, you know what? I would like to have Manja in the North. This was not too long ago. It's about 2 weeks ago. I said, I would like to have Manja in the North. I'd like to see whether she can hold her own in McKinney or McGracker. You know, we talked about it. We did not conclude any. We did not make any conclusion. We did not even contact her on that issue. But I am one person who believes Manja had the quality to walk anywhere in the world, anywhere in Sierra Leone. I mean, look at what she did in the United States when she went to cover the presidential race. And she came with all the videos that had her. You judged her and you realized, yes, she could be an international journalist. In fact, for us, Manja was an international journalist. Somebody said to me, oh, she wished Manja would have lived to write her own memoirs. It would have been a wonderful thing, because she knows how to tell a story. And I think this is one of the things that she learned, telling others' stories, but more so precisely telling our own story. So for me, Manja could have worked anywhere in the country and could have just been the same personality.
As a broadcaster yourself and also as a writer and a poet, one thing people say Manja was good at was her way of description. She can never run out of words to describe something in KRIO in a day. How would you describe that?
And in fact, well, what you're saying, Manja has the ability to describe one thing in 10 ways. She would say one thing on the air, and by the time you think about it, in just that one aspect of description, she has said it in 10 other ways, and you're able to identify with that kind of personality. So this is again why this individual told me she wished Manja had written her own, data, because she has the conviction in her voice, and she nurtures, and she holds the reader, she holds the listener spellbound, making sure that all the information that she needs to take out to that person goes across. And this is the reason why she likes repeating herself. When she repeats herself, she gets it. She wants to satisfy. By the time she leaves the studio, that yes, I have done the transportation, I have done the delivery, and I can go now for another story.
I mean, she died as a celebrated journalist, I would say. Do we know the argument now for her funeral? Because I'm sure members of the public are following that.
Yes, I have been on the phone 3 times today, 2 times this morning, and 1 time this afternoon. And I have asked my Director of Administration and the Acting Deputy Director General to represent us today at the funeral service at what's the place called? Kinghaman Road, where the family will be meeting today to decide on what next step to do. But we are going ahead now to begin to honor our obligations today. As I'm talking to you right now, we're getting ready for that kind of visitation. Because it is important. This is our funeral. This is our occasion. We are the family of Manja. Manja could have a biological family, but the biggest family that Manja has is SRBC. And therefore, we will identify with it for a long time to come.
So in just a few seconds, how do you think Manja will be remembered?
I think she'll be remembered as somebody said, the Christian Amanpo of Sierra Leone journalism. I think she'll be remembered as the journalist who is unafraid to determine, who isn't afraid to go forward, and who isn't afraid to narrate a story. I think she'll be remembered as a good journalist.
Are we expecting a point from you to her? Is it called a eulogy?
Well, I don't know. These things I'm not in control of. But when you look at the name Manja, it is such a wonderful name. I don't know how many people in this country do have such a name. We will look at what that name means, and some poem could come out of it.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you so much.
Well, he is the Director General of SLBC, Dr. Elvis Balamuharu. We are discussing about the life of a colleague of ours who died yesterday, Manja Balimasamba. Until her death, she was the Deputy Station Manager of SLBC. Well, that's it. That's how we say goodbye.